All right, so I'm looking to see here what our first question is for immigration. And our first question is from Ragdan, asking a question on Facebook. Hi, Mr. Brad. I'm just asking if your VAWA case goes smoothly with no evidence needed. Can you get a green card in a year time? I love your show and everything you do. Squad up and thank you again. Listen, Ragdan, anything is possible, okay? You may play the Powerball and win the $300 million lottery, and I wish you the best of luck. I think you have the same chances of everything going smoothly and you getting a VAWA green card without an interview in a year. Just extraordinarily unlikely. But if you think you are that lucky, play the Powerball. Win the $300 million. Then you could go live wherever you want. Take your money and go live where you want. I mean, it's extraordinarily unlikely to happen. Do I want to say no, it'll never happen? Yeah, I mean, anything is possible. It's also possible you win the Powerball. Share Topaz. Brad, my husband lost his citizenship certificate. Will that affect me going for my citizenship interview? No, they know he is a citizen. Okay, so just because he lost it doesn't mean in all of the records for immigration, they know your husband's a citizen. It's not like he lost his citizenship papers and like, who the hell is this guy? They did a fingerprint on him. They know everything about your husband. Okay, just because he lost his certificate of citizenship, he's still a citizen. Kim Alexander. My cousin is married to a U.S. citizen. Got her combo card in December. I'm awaiting an interview. Should she renew her combo card now or wait to see if the interview date shows up? Renew the combo card because you don't know whether you're going to get the interview or not. You don't want to get screwed come December, not have an interview and have no combo card. So renew it. Mile 7. You're about 1/3 of the way into the marathon at mile 7. Hi, Mr. Brad. He has a long question. Let me take a breath. Hi, Mr. Brad. Please, I have a question. Please, my ex-wife wants me to sign an apartment lease for her and our children in New Jersey, but I'm living with my wife here in the Bronx, New York, and my I-130 and I-45 is still pending after we finished our Stokes interview. Please, can we sign the lease for my ex-wife and our children in New Jersey without having problems with immigration because I reside here in New York and she and my children are in New Jersey? You can do whatever you want, okay? But if immigration does an investigation and says, why are you on the lease with your ex-wife? They may always believe that that's where you're living. But if you're living in the Bronx and you're with your current wife and things are good and you just want to be good to your children, that's perfectly legitimate. Go do it. As long as you know everything's above board, you're in a legitimate marriage with this woman in the Bronx, and go do it. But I question why you would ask that if you are in all these legitimate marriages. That's all. And I think immigration may question it too, but as long as you're legitimately living in the Bronx, then fine. Because there's lots of people, believe it or not, there are lots of people who divorce their wife, enter into a business marriage, and still take care of their ex-wife and children because that's who they really love. So, just, make sure you're doing everything the right way and for the right reasons. Jennifer Garza with a question. I was married, and when sending in a notice to remove the sponsorship, how does that work? I sent in a letter and was received this past week on Friday. Jennifer Garza, I don't fully understand your question, but we'll try to interpret this. You have a 2-year green card, and now you want to remove the conditions of your permanent residence, and you submitted an I-751 this past Friday, and want to know what happens from here. What happens from here is that immigration will, in a few weeks, send you back a notice, and the notice will be on a letter, official letter by immigration, extending your green card for 18 months. It'll say employment and travel authorized, which basically means that if you need to work, you show your expired green card in this letter. If you need to travel, you show your expired green card in this letter, and you can travel, work. Your permanent resident status is extended for 18 months. And over these 18 months, immigration is going to ask you to prove that you and your spouse are still living together in a bona fide marriage. And if anybody who watches Bradshaw Live knows, what a bona fide marriage is. You live together, you have a financial relationship with your spouse, and then ultimately you will get an interview. And if you get an interview, you will hopefully pass that interview. By the way, Marissa says we cannot hear or see anything. I hope that's not the case. I hope we can hear and see. Jilly, is that just us? Is that Marissa, or is that everybody? I hope that's just Marissa, although Marissa, if that's you, you can't hear me anyway. So I was going to give you advice to shut your computer off and start it again, but you can't even hear. So you can't hear my advice that I'm giving you. So hopefully shut off your computer and start it again. But that's basically what's going to happen on the I-751. I think I answered that question. Let's see what else is. Laverne Parker. Are they sending out interviews for immigrants who as a citizens have filed for their children? They have not sent out any interviews. They have not sent out any interviews that I'm aware of for immigration interviews in America. I hope it's going to happen soon. Immigration is processing your cases. They're just not scheduling interviews yet. Let's hope it happens soon. Denisha Joseph. I love when Denisha Joseph says that I love when Brad calls out my name. There's nothing I love more than that. That's what she says. Natisha Gordon. Brad, I got a 10-year green card through marriage. My kids get a 2-year. My lawyer sent back the elder one card. I waited 2 years for reply. Sent back the oldest one's card. I waited 2 years for reply. I just got back a denial letter that I must file the I-751. Okay, this is the deal. It's the 2 and the 10-year card is determined when each individual person got their green card. So for example, Natisha, if you got your green card more than 2 years after your marriage, but your children, they came up from another country and they got their green cards within the 2 years of your marriage, they would have got conditional cards. You would get a permanent card. So even though you got a permanent card, your kids still only got conditional green cards. They have to file an I-751. That is correct. And now you're going to be filing a late I-751. Your children are out of status and probably subject to deportation because your lawyer didn't give you good advice. If your children got their green cards, entered the United States, or got their green cards or adjusted their status 2 years after the marriage and immigration's wrong, you should be doing an I-90. So it really depends. It has nothing to do with you, Natisha. It has to do, well, it does have something to do with you because if you have a 10-year card, your children will automatically get it too. You just got to follow the right procedure. But in terms of you having a 10-year card, that means automatically your children, no, you still got to do the procedure, the I-751 and the I-90. And that depends on the day your children got their conditional card. Was it before or after the 2-year anniversary of your marriage? Elisa Enotz with a question. Uncle Brad, my mom is a U.S. citizen. She filed for me. However, the National Visa Center just got to my case, and when I checked online, they have my middle name as my first name. I answered that question. You can write them. Debbie Bignali with a question. Just read they put a hold on green cards. Does that mean adult child sponsorship may be paused? It does, and if you rewind, we talked about this in my schmooze for about 15 minutes, but it's only going to be paused for 6 months, hopefully, or maybe even less if the courts get involved, which I hope they will. Princess Wilson. Unky Brad. I'm still waiting for my J-1 visa waiver so that my U.S. citizen husband can file to adjust my status. However, with the extension of the executive order against issuing various kinds of visas, will that affect me getting a waiver from the U.S. into my adjustment of status? No, it will not. What it would do is nothing. Your J-1 and your waiver has nothing to do with the proclamation, and you adjusting your status also has nothing to do with the proclamation. This only has to do with people in another country, and even if you're in another country because you're married to a U.S. citizen, it still would not be covered by the proclamation. You would still be able to get your green card. Mana Lion Jackson. Squad Up, show live, the voice of poor people doing tremendous Squad Up jobs. Thank you very much. That's very nice of you. Let's see what else. Shanice Smith. What if the U.S. visa is refused and the embassy has a hold on them? I don't know what's going on. You would need to tell me a lot more. Shanice Smith, what's going to happen to all the pending cases? Oh, you're talking about cases that you went to the embassy and there's a hold or there's administrative processing. Everybody will eventually get their green cards. It's just 6 months more delayed, unfortunately. Let's see what else we have here. Marty Robinson with a question. Hi, Brad. My adjustment of status, married to a U.S. citizen, was concurrently filed on the 23rd of April, 2020. When do you think I'd expect my EAD, as my H-1B is going to expire on December 11th, 2020? Magic 8 ball. Marty Robinson. He's here on an H-1B. He's married to a U.S. citizen. He filed his adjustment on April 23rd. Let's assume that Marty did everything perfect. I don't know if he did, because if he didn't do everything perfect, it's going to delay his work permit. And since I didn't file his papers, I don't know whether he filed right or not, Magic 8 ball. But we're going to assume, for the purposes of this question, Magic 8 ball, Marty is perfect. When would you expect him to get his work permit? Because I don't manufacture them, Magic 8 ball. I don't manufacture work permits. Let's see what the Magic 8 ball says. It says, don't count on anytime soon. Unfortunately, Marty, they're taking at least 6 months right now. So you're April, May, June, July, August, September, maybe September or October, but I don't know. I don't have I do have a Magic 8 ball. I was about to say I don't have a Magic 8 ball to tell you, but I do. Magic 8 ball says not anytime soon. Figure September or October, I guess. And that's a guess. Let's see. Nina God Pickney. Hey, Brad, can a job turn you down because you have a 2-year green card and because you're not living here more than 5 years? No. I was just having this discussion with somebody who's a very well-known person who asked me a very, very similar question just recently. You cannot be turned down for a job. It is immigration discrimination because you are a naturalized U.S. citizen and were not born in the United States. You cannot be turned down for a job. It is immigration discrimination if you have a green card. And that is the only reason they're not allowing you to work for them, was because you have a green card. That is immigration discrimination. Now, if you have a pending adjustment of status and you have a work permit, or you have a work visa, employers can decide whether or not to hire you. There is no immigration law discrimination, but there is other discrimination. There's national origin discrimination, meaning that a job can't say, we don't want to hire you because you're a foreigner, even though you have work authorization. So if a job ever was to say, we don't hire people with work permits. Well, who has work permits? People not born in America have work permits. You wouldn't have a work permit if you were born in America. So I would say that would be prima facie evidence of job discrimination. If you have a 2-year green card and they say to you, we don't hire people who are lawful residents, that is job discrimination. Jacqueline Brown with a question. Uncle Brad, if you were to do your interview in March and didn't get to do it, and one of your child reaches 24 next month, will it affect her at the interview? If you were to do your interview in March and didn't get to do it, I guess you're saying is if you did an adjustment. I don't know enough about your case, Jacqueline. I don't know what the relationship is between your interview. I don't even know what type of interview you're doing and where it is. I assume it's an adjustment interview because it was in March. You didn't do it because of coronavirus. I don't know who's sponsoring you or what that is and what the relationship is between your interview and your child who's 24 going to the embassy for an interview next month, which is not going to happen now because of Trump's proclamation. So I need to know a lot more. Ronald Smith with a question. Brad, touch us on the stimulus check. The U.S. senators dancing around. They want to move the 600 unemployment. What purpose having these people in office? People are feeling left, right, center, no aid. I'm pissed off this administration, the way they handle things. You're pissed off about the administration? Don't get me started, Ronald. Nobody is more pissed off about this administration than the entire Brad Show crew, including me. But yes, I agree with you, Ronald. Sharon Plummer. Good evening, everyone. I didn't get what you say. I came on later, so I cannot file for your kids in Jamaica over the age of 21. Can you explain? Sharon, file for your kids. Okay? If you file for your kids right now, over 21, it's a 5-6 year wait. This will all be over by then. Your kids will be able to come. There is a short-term ban on immigration for some combination of racism by Trump, election politicking by Trump, overreach, because I don't even know if he could legally do it by Trump, and he claims because of coronavirus and the economy. But I think those are the last on his list. I think the courts are going to get involved, but it doesn't matter, because if you file an I-130 now, there's no law that says you can't file an I-130. What Trump said is no one's going to process for a green card for 6 months. Put your I-130 in. You got 5 years to wait. We'll see what happens. Goodwin emoji with a question says, hi, Brad. My son filed for me since December. I-130 was approved and I did my biometrics, but I still haven't gotten my work permit. Do you have any idea how long it will take? Magic 8 Ball. Magic 8 Ball says it's out of commission. I don't know. You don't get a work permit by filing an I-130. You get a work permit by filing an I-45. I don't know anything about your case. Even the Magic 8 Ball is stumped on you. Let's see what else we have here. Miley with a question. Oh boy. I need a sip of water for this one. It's a long one. Hi, Uncle Brad. My mom got married to a U.S. citizen in 2006, and he filed an I-130 for her as a spouse. Everything went smoothly until her interview at the U.S. Embassy. Unfortunately, she did not pass the interview. My mom and my stepdad decided not to continue to pursue the case because of financial and personal trust issues. They are still married on paper. Fast forward, now I'm a U.S. citizen and just filed the form I-130 IR5 for my mom. Do you think if the USCIS would question her current marriage when they review her case? Because I'm really afraid that the USCIS will disapprove my I-130 petition for my mom if we cannot prove that this is a real marriage. I don't know what happened at the embassy. If the embassy said that they believed this was a business marriage, you got a big problem. If the embassy just said, there was an issue with the tax return or something like that, then you have less of a problem. Until I review all of the records in the immigration file, I wouldn't know how to advise you what to do. So I think, Miley, what you need to do is have a consultation with me, the number scrolling on the bottom, and you can then hire me if you choose to get the immigration records and review and see what the embassy thought of your mother's marriage case. Let's go to a few questions. We have not answered any questions on YouTube. Let's go to a few questions on YouTube. Blessing Odin. Hello, Brad. Please, what would be the best way to bring my unmarried kids from Nigeria to the U.S.? I'm from Nigeria, and I'm a permanent resident, and my wife is a U.S. citizen. Blessing, at the present time, there's a ban on Nigeria, period. So let's hope that Trump is not president in 4 months, and there will be no more ban. Sexy Shan Myers, Uncle Brad, how do you get a police report from Jamaica if you're in the United States? You have to send away for a fingerprint to Jamaica, to the NBI, which is the FBI and the National Bureau of Investigation in Jamaica, or you can send a fingerprint to your friend in Jamaica to walk it in. Is probably faster than in the mail. Sweet Dot. Do I need, and where do you get a fingerprint? Google private fingerprint. Go take a private fingerprint somewhere. Sweet Dot. Do I need to update the National Visa Center if I become a citizen, or will they update it automatically? No, you have to update them. Don't assume the National Visa Center knows anything. Michael LaQuai, when are your offices open in New York, please, to help my case get moving? Tomorrow. Our offices open tomorrow. Finally, we will all be back in our office tomorrow. So, Michael, the answer is tomorrow. K. April, hey, Uncle Brad, I filed for VAWA where I previously sent my I-45 to update them on the pending case 5 weeks ago. Was that fine? You can always update. You can always update immigration or send them information to ask for an update. I don't have any problem with that. Nothing bad will happen to you. David Bishiki, asking for a friend. She's in the United States on a student visa. Can she travel to see her family in Brazil and return to the U.S. currently? If she overstayed her time, no. If she is on a student visa and she can make it to Brazil and back at the moment, you are allowed to return on a student visa. She just has to show that she's going back to school. And actually, I forgot about Brazil. Brazil, there's a ban on anyone from Brazil. So if she goes to visit her family in Brazil, she would have to go to a third country and stay there for 14 days before she's allowed back in the United States. So if you were in Brazil, you cannot come to the United States directly until you are in a third country for at least 14 days, where they're going to assume you have coronavirus. Agawa Torre with a question. Thanks for watching. For more Brad Show Live, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.